Welcome to the Joy Jolt.
Welcome to the Joy Jolt, everyone. My name is Natalie Ledwell.
I'm Susan Patrick.
And we want to welcome our special guest this week is Marni Battista. How are you, darling?
I'm so happy to be here for Jolt of Joy. So excited.
So Marni is a really good friend of mine. We've known each other for many years, and different, iterations of our businesses and so forth. She is here on Substack. You can find her at Marni Battista, and her newsletter is called Unscripted, Screw the Should Life.
Screw it.
Screw it.
I love it. When I first heard this, I was like, Marni, you and I are going to be friends.
We need to talk.
And I love it because you are talking about not just shoulding and what we should be doing and, what's expected of us. But I mean, what is expected of us these days? I think the rules have been completely thrown out the window. There is, I was on a Zoom call the other day, and a friend of mine, Sean Smith, who's, Susan, he's like, it's like we were living on Earth, but now we're living on the moon. Yeah. And we keep bitching because, we were good earthlings. He goes, but why don't we just become good moonlings? Yeah. I mean, we just have to focus on that.
100. I love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what do you think the should life is, Marni? What do you think it is that we should be avoiding at all costs?
What should you not have do?
What should we do?
Just two shoulds make a positive? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I believe that here's what I think. I'm going to just go right into it. I was just leading a retreat. We were talking about the shoulds, and a lot of people here on Substack, and we do the work, we have the t-shirt, we read the book, we listen to the podcast, and we know the shoulds that are top line. And sometimes we do them and sometimes we don't. But I want to talk about what I call the sneakiest should. Those are the ones that are the real root cause of your shoulds. They're like the contract and agreements you make with yourself that come from the part of you that's trying to protect you.
Yeah.
And the smarter you are, the sneakier your shoulds become to where you don't even recognize that they are shoulds. And so I really want people to start thinking about what are the things they're avoiding that their shoulds are the cover up for.
The things that they're avoiding that their shoulds cover up for. Give me an example of that.
Yeah, like I should speak up more at work, right? But it's really covering up. I'm afraid I'm going to get rejected or make a mistake.
Right.
So our shoulds are kind of our armor. So is that what you're saying? Like they're kind of protecting us?
They're protecting us from taking a look inside and really working through the part of us that wants to be really expressed on the moon, like in the new version of ourselves. And it's really hard to become a moonling when, as you said, like we're so consumed by the path that we were following and what it was supposed to look like, and we're not happy. And so then what? Because we're still trying to find the rules in the next chapter, and those are shoulds, and they're just covering up like the fear and who you really are now, because the life you want probably isn't the one that you thought you wanted when you were like 25 or 30 or 50 or any of those random numbers.
Totally. I just feel the joy, the sucking of the should. Like it's sucking the fun, it's sucking the curiosity, it's sucking the playfulness, it's sucking the, it just feels like a real sucker, a joy sucker.
It is. I always say, like, we're all letting things, I say this all the time, so I'm so happy to be on this show, like steal our joy.
Yeah.
And like, we have control over what makes us feel peaceful and having fun again in our lives, and all those things that if we could just be present to what's possible from being in the discomfort, it's amazing. And when you're hanging on so tight, it's so hard to imagine what it could be like without the shoulds. The shoulds make us feel safe.
Yeah. And I think what you're also talking about, I call those coping mechanisms.
Yes.
You know, because, and on the last podcast last week, remember I made
you were
these
hanging on by a
comments.
piece of cotton over. I remember that. It was a very vivid. She said she was
Yeah.
hanging on by a piece of cotton as she flew over the Niagara Falls. That's what she was.
Yeah, not that comment, but the other comment, another comment that I made was how I had, for the longest time, carefully constructed a life so that I didn't have to face the stuff, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, that's really it. And what happens, I think, too, Natalie and Susan, is that we get adaptation fatigue. Like all that coping is exhausting.
Yeah.
Exhausting.
Right? It's so exhausting. And it's like we're constantly like, there's a guy at my gym. I don't know what he's training for, but he like stands on a balance ball while he's like holding a weight and juggling a ball. I swear to God, I'm like, what are you doing? But when I look at him, I'm like, that's adaptation fatigue. He's like, it's like it's graceful. The way he does it is almost like Cirque du Soleil beautiful. But it's a lot, right? And that's what we're doing. We're doing all those things and we're making it look beautiful, right? But inside we're like, you know, we're not joyful.
Yeah. Well, that I think is huge, right? That sense of I can make it look a certain way, right? So people on the outside would never suspect that what's going on in the inside. And I think that that's really, I think the gift of getting older is I finally just get to look at my insides. You know, the outsides are shifting, they're changing. And that's the gift of like, now let me just, is this the way I want to feel for the next 50 years?
Yeah. Well, I also think that if we haven't looked at this or worked on any of this before midlife, we can't avoid it now.
No.
You know, because our life isn't as busy. We're not being a mother. We're not being the wife. There's not all these responsibilities and things that are keeping us distracted from what's actually going on. And the other way that I know, Marni, is from the Hoffman process.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know anything about the Hoffman process, it is to say that it's life-changing is an understatement. And it really, it delves very deeply into your childhood and things that came up in relationships and patterns and all of that. Like it leaves no stone unturned.
You get to look at it all.
It's thorough. It's thorough.
You get to yell at it all.
There is no avoiding in that container.
No,
100%.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it is life-changing. It's like a 7-day program that you come out of it and you just go, oh my God. Like even going into it, you know, there's like 44 pages of pre-work. And you got to tick all these boxes about the patterns that you have around money and relationships and family and all these different things. And then you tick all the boxes for your mum's patterns and you tick all the boxes for your dad's patterns. Then you start to notice a pattern.
Yeah, then you're like, oh, there's a pattern here. Well, and I think that you grow up when you say, you know, am I my pattern or am I committed to a practice? Right. And that sense of like, it's so much more fun to be in a practice. But my God, I think the shoulds protect the pattern. Like the pattern itself doesn't want to die.
No, that's what I was saying to these ladies. I was like, nothing wants to die. I mean, nothing wants to die, right? So it's going to fight for its survival. I think it's really important to become hyper aware of the sneaky justifications that we're using that are hijacking our dream, that we are calling practical, logical, responsible, and be curious. I always say, like, question every assumption that you're making, like just for, you know, the hell of it, right? Like, is that true? What if it weren't true? I love to watch that show, The Crown, and a few years ago they had this episode, and the queen has to make a big decision, and she talks about there's 3 criteria she uses to question her assumptions. So I'm going to share them because I think they're really amazing as it pertains to shoulds. Number 1 is, do I need to do this now? Does it need to be done now? Does it need to be done at all? And do I need to be the one who does it?
That sounds like really smart.
Right. And so every time there's like a crisis or a decision that needs to be made, they put it through these 3 filters.
Yeah.
And I think that we get so focused on like, this is how it is, this is how you do it. Da, da, da. And so just pausing and just being like, okay, well, let's say I was coming in and I was neutral party. You know, you could ask your Claude just for fun. Do I really need to do this? Does it really need to be done now? Does it need to be done at all? Right. So I love those little 3 questions as like quick takeaways around like some of your should.
Yes. Yeah. I love, well, you know what I love? It's curiosity. I don't know why, but laughter is in my head. And I think that might be a really good way of a litmus test of, are you in your shoulds? Because I imagine when you're in your shoulds, it's not a very jovial place. Right. Like, you know, so it's like, are you easy to make laugh? Are you having fun? Are you feeling light? So it's like, how do I know when I'm sinking into my shoulds? Because they're sneaky. Right. And so,
yeah, I mean, when we are in a place of creation that feels great, you know, like there's 2 kinds of fun. There's fun, like let's go to a party, and then there's hard fun, like let's run a marathon, right? But then there's the third thing that's like, this feels off. And creating the pause, which is so important, to understand that a pause isn't stopping. It's just the messy middle sometimes. And so there's so much freedom. I think that when you're in the old momentum of always being busy and always being productive, like we think that if we pause it's bad, but I have really learned, especially lately through doing a lot more yoga and things like that, to really go like, wait, this pause, I'm making it mean something, but all it really is I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's, we can feel safe in that if we just ask.
God, and we're the embodiment of the pause, right? I am in menopause. And it's like, it's like life is really giving us that opportunity to indulge in that practice, which is the pause.
Yeah.
Right.
But it also is a place of choice. Like in the pause, this is where you get to go, well, is this really serving me? Is this really what I want right now? If I wanted to have something different, what would that possibly look like? So it gives you the opportunity to go, well, if I did want to do things differently and I did want to be a moonling or whatever, what could that be? And I think, you know, when you are in that space and you're thinking about what that next chapter is going to be, you don't have to get too bogged down in knowing exactly what it is. You can think of the macro things. You go, all right, obviously I want to have joy every day. I do want to be serving. I want to make a difference. I want to be serving people. I don't know what that looks like, but I want to do that. And I really only want to work, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. I don't want to work outside of those days. But come up with the bigger things and the things that you enjoy, and then just, you know, in the pause, lean into that. Because remember, once you have an idea of where it is that you're going to, you'll be surprised at how things will start to show up, and you'll just go, maybe I should fit that on for size. And even if you start to go down a path that is not necessarily the path that you end up on, it's going to lead you to the path anyway.
That's right.
You know, because you're taking that action and creating that momentum moving forward.
Absolutely. So the framework that I use to create someone's next chapter is based on the design thinking model at Stanford University, which is like how products are created, right? And so if you look at like, okay, the product I want is my dream life. I don't know what that looks like. And I'm the user of the product, me, right? And we go through those steps, then we can actually figure out like, how can I start tiptoeing into my dream, into that product, by taking these small intentional steps, by understanding the user. I call it your soul map, right? Like if I want to look at my soul and how I'm going to express that in like the ways that you just described, Natalie, what do I love to do? How do I carry it out best? And what are my core values and motivations? And start designing in that place. So it's really, because nobody creates a product, even in the current landscape with AI, like you iterate, You have to, right? You're constantly iterating. And I think that we're so afraid that we make the wrong decision that we just do nothing. What I love about this design thinking model and using this approach to life design and next chapter creation is when you step into this place of iteration, the actual process brings you joy rather than waiting for the destination to feel joy.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah.
And that I think is something that it's taking ownership moment by moment that I deserve to feel good. I deserve to enjoy this process. I deserve to, have all the juice. And I use a very simple mechanism. It's my thumb, and I trust my thumb. And it's like, I'm like, does this feel good? No, this does not feel good. And I I'll literally say it out loud. I'm like, this does not feel good. And they'll be like, this really feels good. This is good. And becoming in tune with just that little piece. And I wonder if that would be a should knocker outer, so it's like you're taking ownership of the energy instead of locking into the should, which is, I think, deeply embedded in your patterns. I'm just playing with your shoulds, right? But
what's crazy is when we do this kind of questioning every assumption, we make choices every single day, like a bazillion times a day. And if you start to really dive into this, the shoulds are like every moment to moment. Do you know what I mean? I should wear makeup. I should wear this outfit. I should allow this much time. I should
have my glasses. I shouldn't have my glasses.
Whatever it is, right? And so you just go, oh, wow, I've lost my power of choice. I think I'm choosing, but am I?
Am I? Yeah. Ooh, that's a fun one. That's am I really choosing? Am I being my shoulds, or am I really choosing my life?
Yeah. No, I love what you say. When so Susan and I have known each other for a very long time as well. We've only ever had one rub. We've had one moment.
Yeah, we had a rub.
Didn't feel good. in all that time.
And you know what? Let's be honest, we were both hangry. So
we were very hangry, and we were at a Joe Dispenza workshop, and people were it was a very stressful situation. But what I love is that you go, look, I deserve to feel good and you deserve to feel good, but this doesn't feel good. So how do we get back to that place where we can feel good?
Yeah.
And it can be even with the situation, it has to be with another person, but you go, look, this doesn't feel good. How do I shift this to feel better? And I think sometimes we do, and especially as women, we get stuck up in the obligation or the perception of how we think people are expecting us to show up in the moment.
Yeah. Or we have to have an answer for whatever's going on, and so we don't say anything, and we just endure, the whatever is going on. But it's like, we don't have to have the answer. We just like the curiosity and giving yourself permission. I love all the questions that you've been asking. It's like everyone's just been asking questions. I think we could just get better at asking questions.
Well, I think, and I think the really key piece about this with not feeling good is, what truth are you negotiating with? Like, you spend time negotiating with ourselves, back and forth about a lot of different truths, trying to adapt, to cope, to rationalize, to justify. And that can take so much energy. That's a joy sucker. It's the kick of joy. And so I would
give us an example of that, Marni. Give me an example of what that looks like.
Negotiating with the truth?
Yeah.
Oh,
what kind of truth are we talking about?
Well, here's just a little example from my life this morning. So I'm dabbling. Well, I'm not dabbling. I'm writing fiction. I've never done it. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm having.
Should you be doing that?
And so anyway, I like deadlines and I like weekly stuff. And I realized I'm going on a holiday for my 60th birthday in Europe, and I want to pause the agreement I have with my developmental editor. And I spent literally 30 minutes trying to write this freaking email to this guy, right? About how do I talk about what I need and what do I really want? And I was like, okay, I'm just going to tell him I don't want to see him in July. And then I was like, oh God, what's he going to think? Like, because I just spent this whole thing talking about like, I need weekly accountability and the payment, just everything. And I was like, okay, I'm trying to negotiate with this truth that I want to have an experience of not having anything over my head.
Mm-hmm.
And that felt so weird to me. Like, right. And so I was just rewriting the email over and over and over again instead of just asking for what you wanted. Not caring what he thinks or what it looks like, or worrying if it's going to set me off my schedule. So I'm just sharing that with you because that was like, and I was watching myself. I was looking at the time. It was like 7 a.m. I was like, it's 7:27. Literally, what the hell am I doing?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. So did you just end up asking for what you wanted?
I did. And he was like, literally all good. He was like, that sounds great. Let's try and do this before you leave. And if you don't, that's okay too.
Oh my gosh.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say that I think that we're going to go into our deeper conversation, but I just want to really say this one really lights my fire, what you're talking about, because I think there is a deep should in so many women that think that I should explain myself. You don't have to explain yourself. You are a grown ass woman. You just speak in terms of what you want. And then if there's any negotiation after that, then you share the explanation. You know, it's like
literally, it was 27 minutes of my literal life.
And that was wrestling with yourself, not your, you know, it's like,
and I'm like the expert. I'm the expert, right? Like I see myself doing it. So I'm just sharing that because I want to make sure everyone who's listening is like, I'm not exempt. We're all exempt. We're wired to achieve and create and be, do, have. And so that's what I'm saying. That was really a sneaky one.
Wow. I love that.
So, it was.
Well, so we're going to go into the deeper conversation. So we'll be back in a few minutes. So what we're going to be talking about, because what I've realized is that when these things come up most, when we understand or we acknowledge and see our shoulds, it's normally when we're in the shit. It's normally when we're in the tough place that this becomes obvious, and it's the opportunity for us to be able to work on it, to release it and whatever. So that's what we'll be talking about in the deeper conversation. So that's for our paid subscribers. So if you're not a paid subscriber, yes, I encourage you to click on the Joy Jolt. Join the Jolt. Become a Jolter. And if you're listening to us on any other platform other than Substack, we encourage you to come over and find us on Substack. We are at thejoyjolt.com is the easiest way to find us, and come and join the joy.
That's
the fun.
I love that. Let's joy some more.
Yeah.
That's right. Let's joy some more. All right. We'll see you in the deeper conversation. Bye all.
Bye.